commitment from the leadership of the organizations that persons seek to establish these quality systems in. And so we commend all of you participants who are on, who have made the big step. And we know that it is a big commitment. It requires time. It requires additional resources sometimes, but it also saves lots of resources at the end of the day. Today, we have a panel of 5 participants who are going to be sharing their perspectives from their standpoint in the industry, and we will be engaging together in discussion. We will take your questions. Of course, the activity today is being recorded and is being live streamed. We advise you of that in the event that you want at this point to exit, but we are sure that you would love to stay for the conversation. I'm Ellis James Leng. I'm Public Education and Customer Service Coordinator at the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. The National Certification Body of Jamaica is an independent unit of the BSJ, and we are very happy to be working with the team at NCBJ to bring this session to you. Let me introduce, just by their names and their titles at this time, the participants. We will go into detailed presentations or introductions of each of these individuals later. Joining us today from the National Export-Import Bank of Jamaica, Miss Debbie Brooks, who is General Manager, Risk and Compliance. We also have Mrs. Cheryl Mullings Anderson, Managing Director, Quality System Solutions and Initiatives. As well, supporting the team, we have Sheldon Taylor, Quality Manager, AMG Packaging and Paper Company Limited. And we're very happy to have again with us Dr. Nigel Croft, who has been supportive of the NCBJ over the years, Senior Consultant, Quality Management and Quality Infrastructure to the United Nations Industrial Development Organization. And we are very happy to have you, Nigel, as we are to have all the participants. We also expect to be joined, and I am hoping that John Mahfood, the president of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, is on. John, if you're here, we would love to see you on camera. And let me just double check before I say that. But we welcome John Mahfood if he is actually online at this point. Oh, yes, I see that he's here. So John, we look forward to hearing from you. John is the president of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, and in fact, obviously a manufacturer and an exporter, and he will share his perspectives as well. So this morning, we will have 5 presentations. We will begin with Ms. Debbie Brooks. Debbie Brooks is the General Manager for Risk and Compliance at the National Export-Import Bank of Jamaica, and she has been in that position since June 2019. She's a career financial service professional with over 25 years of experience in credit adjudication, credit administration operations, and client services. With an MBA in international business from the Mona School of Business and a Bachelor's of Business Administration in Banking and Financial Services from the University of Technology, she is a part of this organization that they have implemented their own quality system, their quality management system, and she will share her experiences with us today. Before Debbie starts her presentation, let me just remind all of us that we ask you to mute your microphones when you are not speaking, all of the participants. At the point at which we will take questions, we ask you to raise your hands, and to use a raise hand feature, we will acknowledge you. Of course, the raise hand feature, the first in line, will be acknowledged, and we will take the comments like that. Debbie, over to you. Welcome.
All right, good morning, and thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here sharing with you in celebration of World Quality Week. I'm not sure you're seeing. Are you seeing my screen? Yes. All right. Okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit with you this morning just about Exim Bank's own experience with quality and with doing the right thing. So for us at Exim Bank, having a quality conscience means that we are committed to ensuring that the best products and services are delivered to our clients. And in service of that objective, we sought to have a benchmark of using the ISO 9001 standard, which, as we know, is a quality management standard. And so we have been certified since 2020 and have gone through a number of audits, and we're up for recertification early next year. So along the way, I'm sure the quality experts like Cheryl will have more academic factors that you need to have in a quality structure. But for us, we have highlighted 4 particular objectives that we think need to be satisfied in the pursuit of quality and in the pursuit of doing the right thing. So for us, leadership we have found to be so much of a key factor. You know, the tone is really set at the top, and when your board and your senior management are committed and they have that buy-in, the rest of the team sees that they are not just talking the talk, but also walking the walk. And we realize that, you know, the tone has to be set at the management level. Communication, having each team member being able to articulate to us how quality is being produced by them in their own individual roles and functions. We found that we needed to have that in order to get the quality principles really entrenched in the organization and be a regular part of what we do. And so we didn't just have regular meetings, but we tried to be really creative in how we communicated in order to get the quality principles across. We're not the experts. We leave that to the folks at the NCBJ, but we needed guidance and we recognized this. And so we had a quality consultant working with us to help us to fill the gaps that we had in order to get our show on the road. And of course, we had human support from the team at the NCBJ, who are always so prompt and so ready to assist us with any questions that we had. So having expertise, we do believe is key. So once we had our quality management system in place, we know that we needed to sustain it, right? So continuity is critical. And as a part of what we implemented for continuity was a quality officer that would help to solidify quality principles throughout the organization, and not just for our existing team, but when new team members join, they would also be able to adapt and to carry through the quality mandate. So what tangible benefits can we say that we have gained in our role as quality advocates? Well, I'm here to say that we have seen tangible benefits. We have seen improvement in our client and staff satisfaction survey results over the period. We can say that the whole process of putting in processes where they weren't before has helped us to identify risks that we had not considered and has helped us to put plans in place to mitigate those risks. We have increased efficiency in our processes. We're now providing more consistent service to our clients, and that means that we're doing that now in less time. So there's less wastage of resources. So we're here to encourage anyone who is not yet on the quality train to get on board, to invest in doing the right thing, and follow our example. So thank you.
Get on the quality train and do the right thing. Follow the example of Exim and do the right thing. I mean, what greater call to action could we have? And to have it so early stated at the very start of this activity for those persons who we are hoping will get on the quality train. And we acknowledge the challenges. We acknowledge that it requires effort. But importantly, and I'm not going to be doing the, going through all of what Debbie has just said, but very important thing of leadership. And those of you who are here, who are leaders in your organization, this is your call to action to make that decision and to see the benefits that will come. Supporting this workshop, this discussion, this conversation this morning, we're very happy to have the president of the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, John Mahfood, with us. Those of us who have had the privilege of hearing John Mahfood speak, whether he's talking about his own company or he's talking about the opportunities for persons who are involved in manufacturing, and he's charging people to get on the junior stock exchange or to encourage persons to export, we will all acknowledge that John Mahfood is a passionate man. Currently, as we said, president of the JMEA, he has previously served as committee co-chair for membership, as well as for MSME program development. He's the chief executive officer of Jamaican Teas Limited. And one of the things about John is his inclusivity. He includes persons from the boardroom right through to the factory floor. Everybody is important and integral to the process. And John credits much of the success of his business and the group to his dedicated staff. An acknowledgement that we cannot achieve quality without committed staff and staff who are empowered and feel as if this business is theirs as well. He lives by the inspiration of his late father and former JTL chairman, Adib Mahfood, a man of honesty, integrity, and hard work. With that kind of legacy, we understand why John Mahfood is an ideal person to share with us today as we look at the quality conscience, doing the right thing. We welcome John Mahfood to the virtual podium.
Good morning, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. Thank you.
Hearing you.
I appreciate the invitation to speak. I would start off just by mentioning that in today's economy in Jamaica, we are rebounding from COVID. The economy is growing, and I think we can look forward to the next 12 months or so, economically wise, a dependable economic system. And I encourage everybody who has suffered through COVID to try to become confident about the future and look at how we are going to all increase our businesses again. Our membership at the JMEA is about 500 companies. About 400 of these companies I would classify as small to medium size. And companies in this category are really focused on growing their business as fast as possible through increase in sales and maintaining as best as possible low expenses that you can invest back in the business. Quality systems are not high on the agenda of this group of companies. And the thought is that you can put this off to when you're better able to invest in it and take the time, especially because in smaller companies, you have a relatively small management team. The thing though is that, having said that, companies must think about the long-term vision for your brand and your company. Success comes when people trust your brand in terms of quality and value for money. This will take many years to achieve, but that is the foundation for longevity. So I look at my own company. When we were still young, we have only been in existence since really 1996, and about 10 years ago, as we were growing, our focus was on exporting. We felt that our business and the type of products we were making, we could only grow through exports. We realized that 10 years, 15 years ago, especially the US FDA and potential distributors in the US wanted higher quality of product, wanted manufacturers to have internationally recognized quality standards. And the requirement was getting tougher. And so we said, you know, that especially because we were so strongly focused on the exports, that we would embark on this. It was hard. You can't deny that for small companies. It was somewhat costly. It took time, it took manpower. But slowly, over time, you become accredited and you start to see the benefits of that investment. We now have confidence in our products that they are safe, and we believe that our customers have confidence in our products. Obviously, when you export to first world countries, you also are going to be, you know, exposed to legal matters if your products fail. Our staff now understand the importance of quality and making a good quality product because it's talked about every day. And they have pride in their products. It strengthens our brand loyalty. It improves our quality, our products. And you have the confidence that you can sell anywhere. Now, even if you are not exporting, and even if you are only selling in Jamaica, I think companies should also know that things are getting more quality conscious. Our own consumers are becoming more quality conscious. And if you think of the major brands that are recognizable, local brands, it's because people believe in them and they trust them. So don't think that just because you are locally focused that you can avoid it. You can also recognize that while it may be tough to export, there are opportunities through Amazon and Walmart online and other online sellers. And with that in mind, JMEA have a program to help companies learn how to sell on Amazon. And Exim Bank is providing financing opportunities for companies who want to go online. And so I encourage people, even if you're only selling in Jamaica, to look at the possibilities of selling online and contact the JMEA to learn how to access the training program and the Exim financing. I also would like to end by saying that one of our members, Technological Solutions, have provided us a $2 million grant to help small manufacturers and medium manufacturers who want to get started, and they will provide up to $2 million of grant money to help companies. So, you know, that's a good place to start too. in that you can contact them and they'll get you started. So your upfront payments are reduced. And the other final point I would make is remind everybody in April next year, we're having our expo. It's the biggest expo, manufacturers expo in the Caribbean. And I want folks online, whether small or medium, to put that in their diary and see how they can join the Manufacturers Expo. Thanks a lot for letting me speak about this.
Thank you, John. Thank you for sharing your own experiences in your own company and for the charge as well to micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises. The honesty that it was hard and it was somewhat costly. It's always good when we can speak to these issues because these are the issues that challenge many of our MSMEs and why they think that they can delay incorporating quality systems into their operations. But as my mother would have said, delay is danger. And when persons wait too long to get to this place, and the culture is already established among their employees, a culture that says anything goes, it makes it even harder to change, to transform that mindset into doing what is right consistently. So thank you for your honesty. Thank you for speaking to us about how the challenges impacted you and the fact that the global requirements, the requirements of the marketplace, the market requirements forced you into a space to revisit whether you should focus on growing through exports or growing through establishing solid quality systems in your operations that could carry you forward. So thank you so very much. The invoice for the advertisements for the Jamaica Expo, the Expo Jamaica, John, will be sent to the JMEA. But because we are partners, we'll give you a discount on that today. So our next speaker, whoa, I'm looking at this dossier before me, a whole dossier that has been presented to me. I'm seeking to carve through it. And just to highlight those things which are critical. One of the things I can say about our presenter is that she is a real energized, enthusiastic, quality expert. She speaks with a passion that rivals John and manufacturing when she speaks to quality systems and initiatives. An ambitious, industrious young woman, she is currently pursuing her doctoral degree in quality management. I told you that she was passionate about it. She is managing director of her own company, Quality System Solutions and Initiatives. But she has got to this place having become experienced through work in the petroleum and sugar industries over the years, having worked without a doubt at the renowned Bureau of Standards Jamaica for 8 years, and having moved from the BSJ into this place called the National Certification Body of Jamaica, where she helped establish that organization. She comes to us with lots of energy, lots of information, and a solid background that is pushing her now to a doctoral degree. We welcome Mrs. Cheryl Mullins Anderson. Make her welcome.
Thank you very much, Ellis. I'm so happy to be here. And what I had to do was nail my feet to the ground because I'm going to get too, excited. So I want to stay one place. So I'm going to try to contain myself and my enthusiasm. But welcome, everybody. Good morning. And I am going to be presenting our perspective in terms of the consultancy perspective, whereas the quality conscience is concerned, because quality conscience, yes, is actually just basically saying you just need to do the right thing all the time. And I'm going to look at the perspective in terms of what type of values we have as a consultancy organization, and what each consultant should have when they're imparting the services. I'm glad NCBJ had the insight to actually look at the different cogs in the wheel, the different perspectives, because each one of us, we have a part to play in making sure that we are always doing the right thing, so we can actually have a country and a region that is living up to its best performance. And just looking at from the consultancy services point of view, one of the main things and main principles that we hold dear, and all consultants should hold dear, is integrity, the honesty, the ethical way in which we carry out our job, making sure that we are always thinking about the client. And if we don't have that type of principle working with, we are going to be failing our country, because we are not playing our part as one of the cogs in the wheel. But one of the reasons why I separated integrity from values is just that this is the guiding principle that we should have overall whenever we are delivering our jobs. And the reason, just to go into the reason why we have values separately, because each consultant can have their own values as to what they present to their customers. At QSSI, our values would be our responsiveness, for instance, partnership, and customer care. So each consultant should be digging deep down to say, what is the type of value that my conscience offers to the people or the target customers that I serve. For instance, the way how we demonstrate responsiveness, I can give you my own experience. When one of our companies, our managing director, was in Japan, and he called at 3 o'clock and said, listen, I need some information from you right now. This was about 3 o'clock in the morning. And he wanted us to Skype. It was Skype at that time, not Zoom. And he wanted us to Skype at that time and give us the information. Do we say no? Dare we say no? Because the fact is, if we consider responsiveness part of our values, we are going to always respond to the clients. And the thing is, we internalized his objective of making sure that he brings that contract home to Jamaica so he can sell more coffee. So we, as consultants, have to make sure that we are always internalizing those values, making sure that it's always being demonstrated, because at the end of the day, we are serving a set of customers, our people, our country, and we have to make sure that we're always consistently delivering service quality. And that is one of the reasons why, as a consultancy organization, we are not just there to implement ISO 9001 standard in our company. We went for ISO 9001 because we wanted to see what it takes to be certified, and the pain. I know Debbie was talking about implementing ISO 9001. So we had the same experience as a consultancy organization to make sure that we live the same experience as our clients. Now, I'm just going to give you the perspective of our role for the different types of industries that we serve. And I'm so happy that I came after Mr. Mahfoud, because, the manufacturing industry experiences its own type of pain. And one of the things that we have to do as consultants is to internalize that particular pain and actually respond and tailor our services to make sure that we are giving them value. And there are several aspects, as you can see on the slide. We look at the different quality and food safety standards that these manufacturing companies are expected to conform to. Now, if we do not help them to reach or to implement those requirements of the food safety standards, they will not be able to attain that certification. The reason why Mr. Mahfoud's group wants to attain that certification, and the reason why we as consultants are doing this job, is to make sure that we understand that they want to access overseas market. I've been to several of JMEA's function where they invite Senator Aubin Hill. He's a Minister of Industry, Investment and Commerce. And his message all the time to our Jamaican industries is that we have to export. We have to export, we have to export, and he sings it day and night. And right now, Mr. Mahfoud is also singing the same tune. I should say Mr. Aubin Hill is actually singing Mr. Mahfoud's tune. So I am here now as a consultant to sing that same tune, and I am saying this is how we are going to help you to get to certification, because we want our companies to access the market. Why do they want to access a market? Because, one of the heart of many companies in Jamaica, they want to make sure that they keep their employees, their job secure. And we have to make sure that we understand those values of the different companies. We are not just offering, I don't want consultants to just offer this type of service. It's not, we know that it's for profit, but you have to have a value system. You have to have a reason why you get up every day and do this. And at the end of the day, you're supposed to be fulfilled because you have played your role in helping a customer to access market and to sustain the employment for many of our people within the country. I have to always talk about my different experiences that I have with the different companies. There was a particular company who came to us and he said, Cheryl, we need to get this certification by June. And the reason he needed to get it, he wanted to get his products into Kroger's. And just think of Kroger's in the US. Is a massive retail chain. So you can just imagine the production volume that particular company as an SME would be taking on and who would have the opportunity to if they implement the safe quality foods. Now, this is the first time that standard was being implemented in Jamaica. And he said, okay, sure, we can do it. And are like, oh yeah, right. By June, this is January. So it was a tall order, and I said, let us think about it. And we thought about it, and we had to get over our own discomfort of the time limitations to say, listen, this is for a bigger purpose. We want to make sure the products get into Kroger's because their success is our success. They got into Kroger's, obviously, and they got the first company in Jamaica that was certified to SQF, and they got a score of 94. They actually do their recertification every year, and it is a company, they have got 99% consistently every year. And that is one of the fulfilling moments, even up until now, that we can say we were a part of that journey, and we continue to be part of that journey for other companies. When they have these standards, they can continue to export because there's credibility and trust. They can actually reduce their costs, their overall operational costs by becoming more efficient. And because they are able to do that, they are able to focus more on investing and expanding. Just like Mr. Mahfoud, the owner of Jamaican Teas, because he has these food safety systems and quality systems in place, he's able to retain his employers, make their jobs more secure. And Jamaican Teas is even expanding more. So you can just imagine how they are going to be creating more employees for a person. So they are more focused. They are going to be more focused on investment and also focused on innovation. The public sector, I am a creature. I grew up in Bureau of Standards, and I understand the public sector as well, and the purpose and the function of the public sector. Now we are here to make, yes, I'm saying we because I'm acting like I'm still at Bureau of Standards. Oh my God. Anyway, I feel like that sometimes actually. So as public sector, right, and I've worked with several of them, PICA, Jamaica Constabulary Force. We have audited banks like Exim, and they deserve their certification, I must say that. From the perspective of consultants, we are here to help our public sector bodies to improve their service delivery. Why do they want to improve their service delivery? And I know Belize Bureau Standards is here as well, because they want to facilitate businesses to make sure that the businesses are functioning effectively, and they understand their role of facilitating business. And that is one of the reasons why you have a lot of public sector bodies in Jamaica that are implementing ISO 9001. I think there are over 30 companies that have implemented ISO 9001. And I'm going to wrap up soon because I can get a little bit too excited. Now, the thing is, how did this start? Was that Mr. Budan, the ISO 9001 ambassador, he looked at the Italian experience, and what they did, they had a move to get most of their ISO 9001, their public sector bodies, ISO 9001 certified. And because of that, they were able to improve their service delivery, to improve the business performance of the different SMEs. So I'm really happy that we are part of that experience, especially some consultants in Jamaica. And one of the last thing I have to say is I had the distinct pleasure and honor and privilege to work with the Jamaica Constabulary Force. And one of the things that the management of that organization said, listen, I don't want the public, the political directorate define who the police is. I don't want the media to define who the police is. They are going for certification because they want an international validation of their systems and their processes, and to know that they are delivering quality services to their publics. And that is one of the reasons that we have to be part of that quality conscience and always giving good service as consultants. When you know that a commissioner of police can look at an ISO 9001 standard as validation of doing the right thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mrs. Mullings Anderson. I tell you that she's very passionate about the thing, and if we allowed her, she would have continued for the entire 2 hours of this session. But thank you for that, and thank you for sharing it with it. Thank you for also speaking to the matter of the public sector. I do know that through the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, the agency, the ministry that the NCBJ is a part of, the ministry, and you have spoken to Senator Hill's call to export more. But also within this ministry, the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, the National Certification Body of Jamaica, the National Compliance and Regulatory Authority, there is JANAC. All of these agencies responsible for Jamaica's quality infrastructure, contributing to Jamaica's quality infrastructure, are here and leading the charge for the public sector agencies which are being certified. It is important that we change the mindset, and that certainly, as Mrs. Anderson said, we seek to improve on our service delivery, facilitate the businesses who are seeking to feed their families, seeking to provide for their homes, but also provide employment for their employees, and also export, which ultimately comes to impact our GDP. Thank you, Mrs. Anderson, for your passionate address. We're joined at this point by one who his commitment to quality is well known internationally. I have been in the BSJ for a little while, and I have heard him present I know of his commitment to quality. He has been recognized by many persons over the years for his contribution. So let me tell you a little bit about our next presenter. Dr. Nigel H. Croft is recognized certainly as one of the world's foremost experts in quality management and conformity assessment of management systems. He currently chairs or sits on a board of a number of organizations around the world and is a senior consultant, as I said earlier, on quality management and quality infrastructure to the United Nations Industrial Development Organization, UNIDO. He's a fellow of the Chartered Quality Institute, an IRCA registered principal auditor of quality management systems, a senior member of the American Society for Quality, and a member of the Brazilian Academy for Quality. In 2017, Nigel was awarded the American Society for Quality's medal for his passion, dedication, and leadership in the application of quality management principles to the development, promotion, and implementation of quality management system standards on a global scale for over 20 years. And there have been other awards. And in a forum where we have representatives from the Caribbean, welcome Crosque, Belize, Suriname, wherever you are from joining us today as we do this World Quality webinar, World Quality Week webinar. We thank you. And we thank you for joining us as we invite Nigel Croft to speak to us. Nigel, over to you.
Just unmuting myself there. Thank you so much. And it's a great pleasure to be here with you virtually, if not in person. I put this background because this is where I am right now in Rio de Janeiro, Ipanema. I've been taking part in a number of Quality Week events all over the world. And, you know, the internet and the virtual reality gives us so many opportunities. Just today, I've been speaking at an event here in Rio with all of you. It's a pleasure to be with you in Jamaica. I have another event in Suva, in Fiji, in the Pacific, and also in Nairobi, in Kenya. So these are things that we could never have dreamed of doing in the past. But first of all, let me start by getting one thing off my conscience and doing the right thing. I'm actually here today in an individual capacity. So I'm not here representing UNIDO. I'm not here representing ISO. These are my own personal thoughts. So when we talk about quality and when we talk about doing the right thing, what I'd like to do is to start off by thinking of each of us as individuals. So what does my conscience tell me? Well, my personal values revolve around trying to do the right thing. That doesn't mean I will always do the right thing. I will sometimes do things that I shouldn't do. And I think all of us are in that situation sometimes. But I try. I have good intentions. I may not please everybody all of the time, but I do actually try to do the right thing. I try to maintain the right balance between myself, my family, and I'm here in Rio actually visiting my elderly mother-in-law. So I'm doing the right thing as far as that's concerned. I also hope to be able to get onto the beach at some stage. So I'll be looking after myself. Right now I'm working doesn't feel like work, it feels more like pleasure, but taking part with all my friends in the Caribbean and region, taking part in this webinar. We need to think about our friends and neighbors, and we need to think more and more about society as a whole and get the right balance between each of those elements. So what does your quality conscience, what does your conscience tell you? Well, in business, organizational values need to be clearly defined and communicated to all interested parties. But they need to be embedded in the organization's quality culture. It's not just about writing very eloquent, very beautiful mission and vision statements. It's about actually making sure that those are effectively deployed throughout the organization in which you work. So typically that can be done by the deployment of vision, mission, and vision and policy statements. ISO 9001 that we talk about a lot, and indeed ISO 9004, which we don't talk about so much, provide a very, very good starting point. So ISO 9001 is about doing the right thing with your customers in mind, making sure they get good quality products and services from your organization. ISO 9004 is about doing the right thing for your organization, making sure that your organization will be around 20 years from now, that it is a sustainable organization, that it treats its employees well, that it motivates people, that it's using natural resources principally in a disciplined manner. We've also now just published this year the ISO 10010 standard, guidance to understand and to implement a quality culture, an organizational quality culture. So I would commend that standard to you to take a look at that. In my experience, successful organizations combine 5 key components. First of all, caring, wanting to do things right. Second, having a method, clearly establishing how to do things right. Third, discipline, to continue to do things right and to take action when things do eventually go wrong. Pride, very, very important. Pride in doing things right, pride in belonging to an organization that does things right, with your colleagues, with your co-workers, and so on. And finally, innovation, looking for ways to do things better next time. Dr. Deming, great guru of the last century, I think, well known to everybody, instrumental in helping the Japanese to implement total quality after the Second World War. And the concept promoted by Deming is that man or woman is essentially good. The concept of the willing worker, people who go to work wanting to do things right. And it's really management's job to provide the resources and provide the environment and provide the stimulation to take somebody who is essentially good and help to make them better. You know, Deming used to say, it's not management's job to motivate people, because if people are essentially motivated, they want to do a good job. The key to good management is not to demotivate people by creating constraints, by not rewarding good behavior, by criticizing the things that go wrong. And so we need to make sure that as management, we don't look, whose fault is that? We say, why did something bad happen? Well, it may be because there weren't the resources, the person hadn't been trained, didn't have the right equipment, was never told what we expected of them. So leadership, to accomplish the transformation of the organization to benefit all its stakeholders, and a true leader possesses the knowledge, personality, and persuasive power to allow him to do all of this. I'm very proud of this photograph. This was me in one of Dr. Deming's workshops, much younger than today, with a little mustache. I've actually still got the same tie. I cherish that tie. I do wear it occasionally, even though it's almost 30 years ago since I had the honor of taking part with Dr. Deming as one of his volunteers to be a willing worker in his workshop. So I'd like to just emphasize, many of you will be familiar with some of Deming's 14 points, the famous 14 points. I'll just pick out 4 of these, which I've highlighted there. Drive out fear within your organization so that everybody can work effectively. break down barriers between departments so people can work together as a team looking at processes rather than working separately in silos. Very interesting, this one. Eliminate slogans, exhortations, and targets asking for zero defects. That doesn't mean we shouldn't aim for zero defects. But if we impose or come up with slogans that are beyond the power of the workforce to be actually able to do that, that will just generate frustration. You know, if we are in a company and we have all these slogans, enchant the customer, zero defects, and people look around them and they're working in a dirty, old, badly maintained environment, they're going to look at those slogans and they're just going to laugh, and it becomes an object of ridicule. And finally, remove the barriers that rob people of their right to pride of workmanship. Well, particularly in service sectors, I think all of us can identify those service sectors who really look after us well as customers. We can sense that feeling of pride of the people, whether it's a flight attendant, whether it's someone in a restaurant, or whatever. And so that pride of workmanship is very, very important. So to summarize all of that, how do we build the future? Well, we need to care. We need to have a method. And I believe that in many cases, the method is provided by ISO management system standards, whether it's ISO 9001, 14001 for the environment, 18001 for health and safety, 22000 for food, and so on and so on. That provides us with the discipline to be able to do the right thing. We need to be able to instill in all our colleagues the pride to do the right thing, and we need to always be looking for ways to do things better by always striving to do the right thing. Now, I started by giving an example of personal experience. We shouldn't wait for somebody else to start things rolling. This is the Paul Hersey's organizational psychology model. And what it says is that very easy to get the knowledge. It's very easy to understand what is actually involved in doing the right thing. But we need to transform that into an attitude, which takes a little bit longer. It's a little bit more difficult. And then we have to stimulate people by our own individual behavior. So we, as whether we're a CEO, whether we're a line manager or supervisor of the night shift or whatever, we have to demonstrate by our individual behavior that we are on board with this and we're committed to doing the right thing. And that eventually will lead to group behavior, whether it's in our department, in our company, or indeed in our country. And that takes time to disseminate this culture of doing the right thing throughout the organization. So thank you very much for your participation. Thank you to NCBJ for inviting me, and it's been a pleasure being around. I hope to be able to get to the beach at some stage later this afternoon. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Nigel. We thank you so much for sharing that. Really some critical nuggets for us. I am particularly looking at that listing, or well, not listing, but that encouraging care, method, discipline, pride, and innovation. I think these are key things, and there are some elements as we look at the matter of how we create change, how we influence change. And, you know, behavior change is not something which is going to happen overnight. This is something that requires really a longitudinal plan and a commitment. And once you've shared the information, and over time, the thought process, the attitude, the behavior. But what I liked particularly was pointing out the individual behavior, which influences the group behavior. Because so very often we are talking about the community and how the community should change. But are we holding up the examples, and are we demonstrating from our space, every single one of us, that individual change? in behavior. So thank you very much, Nigel, for your contribution to this morning's presentation. We are at 10:57 and we are going to have our next speaker. And I'm going to say to all of those persons online, I'm sure you will agree with me that already, before we have even gone into the discussions, we have had the benefit of several nuggets for each of us in our operations. I thank the National Certification Body of Jamaica for this wonderful opportunity, and I thank those persons who are involved in quality at whatever level, even if you're the person who, really stick to quality, because that gives us a reason to be here preaching today. So our fifth speaker comes to us with experience from a space where his own company has been certified and where he, through his own efforts, through his own work and processes, knows the challenges associated with quality management implementation. Sheldon Taylor is our quality assurance manager in the AMG family, having joined in 2013. He's a certified lead auditor, so he knows exactly what the auditors are going to look for, and so he can say to his team, hey, we have to get that right, because they will just see through that. And he's a certified lead auditor, ISO 9001, and a certified general technical assessor. Sheldon's functions they include, but they are not limited to, developing and overseeing compliance of the company's quality management system, liaising with stakeholders. And this is critical because our processes are only as good All right, fine. I think we just had a moment where most of us were muted, but yes. So his activities include, but are not limited to, just to developing and overseeing compliance of the company's quality management systems. He liaises with the stakeholders. And I was making the point that we do the work, not so much for the quality work that we put in. It may lead to exports. It may lead to greater income. But ultimately, it is about the stakeholders in our operations. It's about our team, how we create an environment for the persons with whom we work. It's about the customers that we serve. It's about the consumers who eventually get our products. It is really about our neighbors, how they are impacted by our environmental decisions. So when we think of quality management systems, while ultimately we look at earning and benefiting, we are also along the way ensuring that our stakeholders are better off for the process. It is my pleasure, and I ask you to help me welcome to the virtual podium our Quality Assurance Manager, Sheldon Taylor.
Thank you, Ellis. Good morning, everyone. I want to thank you all for joining us today. Thanks to the NCBJ for inviting me to be a part of the celebration of Quality Week. It's my pleasure. I'm just going to go right into it as we talk about quality content. As Sir Croft mentioned earlier, it's not an easy road. It's not an easy task to be continuously exercising quality and having a quality content. Now, it takes some stuff, as Dr. Nigel mentioned before. You have to have care. You have to have the discipline. You have to develop methods of how you're going to deploy things and how you're going to continuously do things the right way. It also includes continual improvement, ways how you're going to make your system better, your product better, and your services better. More importantly than anything else, it takes a lot of time. Now, when you have all of this, you have to put it together and to see how it will work for you. Now, at AMG, we came up with our quality policy as to how we can encompass all of this. And by that, we made a commitment, and our commitment is that we are committed to implementing and continually improving the effectiveness of our quality management system. Now, we can't do this alone. We do this with our competent staff, teamwork, communication. And when all of that is combined, we are able to provide products that satisfy our customers' needs. But not only it is about our customers, because in this world of operating, there are other requirements that we oftentimes overlook, which are our statutory and our regulatory requirements. So we have to look how we can encompass everybody and do the right thing. Now, at AMG, what we do by continually to do the right thing every time, we implemented policies and procedures. Now, these are documented and implemented to guide various processes within our business. By doing the right thing all the time, we continually review these procedures and policies to determine, are they effective? Are we getting the right results that we need? Or should we make them absolute, right? And from these procedures and policies being effective or improving on them, one of the best things you can have is experiencing cost saving in your operation. Now, everyone likes to hear about cost cutting. So when you're talking to your board of directors, they are happy to hear when you present an idea to say, this is going to save the company some money. By doing the right thing all the time, you help to develop your customer service and your confidence. Now, this is how your customers will see you, what brand you represent. What does your processes, what does that say about your company? Now, by doing the right thing all the time, there can be significant improvements in your customer service. And this we have seen over the years through noticeable happy customers. When our customers are happy, they provide us feedbacks through various means, whether by a telephone call, by a surveys, all of that. Now, by doing the right thing and implementing a quality management system, which is the ISO 9001, we have seen a drastic decrease in customer complaints. Now, this is very good. By doing the right thing, we have also retained customers and increased customer loyalty and confidence. Now, there is no wrong in doing the right thing. And in closing, I'm going to leave you with the words of Martin Luther King Jr. The time is always right to do what is right. I thank you.
Unmute, Ellis.
Thank you very much. Thank you so very much. It's always right to do the time is always right to do the right thing. And so they eventually unmuted me so that I could speak with you again. Thank you, presenters. Thank you, Sheldon. You know, you spoke of cost savings, or from the director's perspective, maybe cost cutting. But when our customer complaints can fall, when we start to see the complaints go down and people appreciate what we do and offer the feedback, then this is critical. As I said before Sheldon came to speak to us, ultimately, we want to ensure that our processes help our consumers, help our customers, help all of our stakeholders. It's not just about improving the finances in the bank. It is that goodwill that is going to create the finances. It is that goodwill that is going to cause customer loyalty so that persons will stay with the brand. And persons will always remember how you have made them feel. the very product that you offer to them. When they pay for a product or for a service, it is what they get. It is that value. It's not just a product. It is a value that comes with it and how you treat them. None of us want to have an unpleasant exchange. We don't want to have to return products. So, audience, thank you so very much for your attention. We have heard 5 very strong presentations this morning from persons who, speaking from different perspectives, have really challenged us to examining our quality conscience, doing the right thing. It's easy for us to talk about that here, but the challenges were also spoken of, so we recognize the cost, or some persons will say the investment that we need to make. We recognize the time that is required, the energy that is required. It is not an overnight success. And those persons who become megastars, whether on the field of play, Usain Bolt as an athlete, or Rihanna as a performer, we see the success. We see the success. We don't always see the many years of hard work that lead to that. And we should always recognize that success comes, not overnight success. Success comes because of consistent hard work. The opportunity is always now, participants, to raise your questions, to ask questions of our participants, to make comments. We are at 11:10. We certainly want to be out of here before midday or by midday Jamaica time. But we welcome your comments, your questions. You may want to challenge a position that has been presented here by one of our quality speakers, our quality gurus, who are putting the nice foot forward. They did share some of the concerns. We invite persons to use the reactions available, use the raise hand feature. If you have comments, you may make that in the chat, and the chat is being monitored by NCBJ personnel, and we are very happy to have the staff, the manager and the staff of NCBJ supporting this activity this morning. And so they will look at the comments and they may respond there, or they will bring to my attention. But the floor is open now for us to. Oh, before we get to that moment, thank you so much. We are going to look at a video and then we're going to take the questions. So let us look at the video for World Quality Week.
Sorry, the sound is not shared.
No.
Nicolay, the sound is not being shared.
Right thing for customers and stakeholders. So what's the link between quality and doing the right thing? Quality helps organizations to do it right the first time and strive to improve value for customers and stakeholders. The quality profession helps organizations to define customer, stakeholder, and societal expectations, translate customer and stakeholder expectations and strategic intent into ways of working that help everyone to do the right thing. Put in place the controls and assurance methods that mitigate the risk of getting things wrong, transform ways of working and value for customers and stakeholders. Set the tone for a culture of quality and doing the right thing for stakeholders and customers. How do we embed quality conscience into business culture? Quality helps you develop a culture where people observe others doing the right thing, evaluate others doing the right thing, advocate for others to learn to do the right thing, and improve the definition of doing the right thing. Quality helps business to take doing the right thing seriously, take responsibility for the impact of their processes, products, and services on people and our planet. During World Quality Week 2022, consider how you support doing the right thing. Think about what the features, evidence, artifacts of a quality conscience are in your organisation. Consider how you make sure you are doing the right thing even when it's difficult. Challenge and support your business in creating sustainable, ethical values now and in the future. Because when you do the right thing, your colleagues, suppliers, other stakeholders, investors, and customers will all take note. So, how do you plan on celebrating World Quality Week 2022? Get involved at quality.org/WQW 2022.
Thank you very much for your attention. Sorry about the quiet start, but I trust that we got the essence of the presentation. Mr. Mahfood, I'm just going to ask you if you'd be good enough to just drop in the chat a response in relation to the 2 million grant Sheena Brown is asking there. Thank you, Andrea, for your very kind words. And Sheena was asking Mr. Mahfood some details in relation to the 2 million grant, which is available through TSL that you had mentioned. So if you could just type something in the chat so that Sheena and the rest of us could benefit from that as well.
I could speak briefly about it if you like.
Very briefly, certainly.
Yeah. So TSL, and I'm not advocating for them, but they have their own, one of the consulting organizations in Jamaica who help companies both in Jamaica and in the Caribbean with quality systems and a number of other things. Had their, I think it was their 25th anniversary, I can't be sure. And as part of that, they offered a grant of $2 million towards people who want to engage them and would be reduced from their fee. And anyone who is interested can contact the JMEA to find out more about accessing that.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mahfood. So we have been challenged by all of our speakers today to consider our own moral compass. Was it right or wrong? What are your own values? What is your integrity? What are the things that inform you? What are the things that cause you to make the decisions? And as those of you who are involved in business, in operations within the public sector, what is it ultimately that we're seeking to achieve? And how do we get to this place of constantly doing the right thing? Those of us who are Jamaicans and sure throughout the Caribbean, and those of us who have had the benefit of good parenting would always know that our parents would say to us as we go out to school, do the right thing, listen to what teacher says. And many of us are coming from that space where parenting influenced us to make right decisions, the friends that we chose. And this kind of early start would have influenced the decisions that we made in our lives. How then, in a culture where, let me speak about the Caribbean, anything goes, where we have persons who are prepared to throw away the values that have taken us to this place, how do you as business operators, how do you as quality consultants, how do you withstand the temptation and do the right thing? Which of our panelists would like to start? We're asking all right, fine, please go ahead, Cheryl.
Right. From my perspective, and I'm glad that Nigel made reference to the ISO 9001 standard. And when we have a standard that is the core of how we operate, and you also alluded to parenting as well as it is so significant when it comes on to observing some of the behaviors within companies or just generally in society. What I always come back to is that compass, that standard, and we get people to understand what the standard is, and you can't compromise on that standard at all. Whether we are going into the companies, we are auditing to a particular standard, that is the standard. We can't be, as consultants or auditors, compromise on that standard, because we are diluting the way how it really we should operate, and we cannot be responsible for that. And so we always have to set that standard out there and always go back to that compass just to make sure that we are doing our jobs right. And so it's really about you setting your values and your principles and sticking by it.
Nigel, thanks Cheryl, how does one set values? You spoke earlier of using the personal values and then leader. How do you go about identifying your values? What if I'm a criminal? What if I have ill intent? Those would be my values. So how do I come to do decent, good corporate citizen values? Is Nigel still here? I'm sure that I saw him a while ago. I don't know if there has been a break for him.
He went to the beach.
It is quite likely. He did promise that he would go there. So we hope he'll do the right thing and come back soon. But I think there might have been some internet challenges. There you are, Nigel. I was asking you, following on Cheryl's comments, how do we make how do we determine our values? If we have come from a place of being corrupt, how do we now form new values, which are good values to take our business operations?
I think that's an excellent question. Sorry, my internet just dropped off momentarily. Obviously, there is the new, relatively new ISO standard 37001 on anti-bribery management systems. And I was taking part in a webinar a few years ago, actually, and somebody said, you know, if we have to bribe customs officials, and I think it was the people from DHL actually were saying, you know, if our competitors are bribing customs officials in some Eastern European countries, and we don't do that, then our packages don't get released from customs as quickly as theirs do. And it's, I think somebody in one of the presentations was saying, we have to have the moral compass to do the right thing, even when it's challenging, even when it can be difficult. That's what we mean by knowing about doing the right thing and having the moral courage to do the right thing, because it's by our behavior that eventually it will sort of grow by osmosis, it will permeate, and we'll get through that towards the group behavior. But it can be challenging. I currently chair a group within the International Accreditation Forum looking at concerns with what we call fraudulent behavior by ISO 9001 certified organizations. You know, we have had situations in the past where very famous high-profile cases, a Japanese company, Kobe Steel, admitted to falsifying test results systematically over a 10-year period for materials they sell to the aerospace and automotive. We had the breast implant company in France that was using industrial grade silicone to make breast implants instead of medical grade. We had the car emission, exhaust emission scandal, where companies were knowingly falsifying test data for diesel engines in Europe. These are companies who maybe have the systems in place, maybe they have the quality management system certification, but it's very difficult for an auditor to go into a company that is intentionally committing fraud, particularly if they do it very well. You know, we are not police. Auditors are not police. auditors are not doing forensic audits. You know, it's on a basis of trust. So that basis of trust is built up over the years, and it starts with the individual. I believe in some of those cases, it was individual people who were falsifying test data, thinking they were, you know, helping the company out, but deep down they should know it's not the right thing. Just to add to that, I've said for many years, when we talk about establishing a quality policy, which is a requirement of ISO 9001, it shouldn't just be a piece of paper that the top management signs and says, okay, you know, let's cut and paste somebody else's quality policy and sign it and we meet the requirements of the standard. That quality policy has to represent the conscience of everybody in the organization. So if I'm an inspector at the end of the line, and my boss is saying to me, Nigel, this is not quite approved yet, but can you release it because we need to, you know, meet this month's sales target, and it's always on the last day of the month. It gives me the courage to be able to say, no, boss, because the big boss has signed this quality policy, and if I were to do that, I would be going against the quality policy. So that policy essentially forms our collective conscience.
Our collective conscience. And the collective conscience is really an appeal to all of us together. Sheldon, how did you in your company seek to get your team, your members around an understanding and a commitment to quality? How were you able to do this?
Well, to begin with, I'm in manufacturing where we have over 100 different persons from different backgrounds, different exposure to different things. Now, what we started off by is showing them, train persons, the importance of doing the right thing and continue to do it even when it's not right. And of course, you know, you're going to have challenges because, you know, person like, we've been doing this for a number of years and we didn't see any problem with it. But it takes a little time to finesse them, to get them on the side to see the greater good, the great benefits of doing the right thing and that cultural change, that adaptability. So that's a process that we went through with our staffing to get them to do the right thing.
And following on that, I want to ask John, as managing director, as leader in your space, did you have situations where persons say, but you are asking us to do this, but I'm not seeing an example from you? I mean, you spoke to honesty, integrity from your father, and I think that has been your watchword. Did people question your own integrity at any time? Did they say, but Mr. Mahfood, you're not doing the same thing, so all you can't ask me to do? Did you encounter that? I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back and see if I had anything like that happen. I can't. It is an issue, you know, if you have standards that are part of your quality system, then obviously top management, even in their simple day-to-day operations, have to be pretty clear that they are not exempted. And in the one or two simple instances where I might have transgressed myself in terms of visiting the factory or something, you know, fortunately, one of the staff members will come to me and say, hello, you know, you're not wearing your net, or you're not wearing this or that. I think the bigger problem has been the one you mentioned, which is, or that was mentioned before. If you give people the job of being quality watchdogs as part of that system, their focus in my organization is on ensuring that they adhere to those strict standards. And then sometimes you get into conflict between those strict standards and the need to get your product sold. And I would say fortunate, you know, and sometimes it's tough because sometimes they will condemn production, or they will condemn raw materials. And even the managing director has to say, listen, that's a huge loss you're expecting me to take. But at the same time, we have to be careful that in making a judgment, that we don't then say that this is only for convenience. And over time, it started to get better, you know. So we would have a conference with quality and production, and if we make a decision on the side of production, we try to document why we did it, and not just use the power of management to overrule. Because in small companies like ours, the people responsible for quality may not have the same, what's the word, status as the managing director or the marketing manager. So that's something maybe a small company will encounter more than a large company.
All right, thanks. Thank you for that perspective. Debbie, within your space, not only as a bank seeking to be certified, seeking to establish your own quality systems, but you also interface with several persons who are doing business. How do you use your own experiences? How does EXIM use their own experiences to help people along the way to understand the importance of certification?
Right. So as you can imagine, EXIM Bank deals with a lot of small businesses who might not necessarily have all the right, documentation when they're seeking financing from us. But what we try to do is to be a partner. And within EXIM, we have a unit, a business advisory unit, that works with our clients to help them to become ready. And so we believe in, leading through our own example and trying to emphasize the importance of quality and why we do what we do, and then to encourage our clients and our other stakeholders, to our partners in the business of serving SMEs to strive for readiness in every aspect.
Thank you. Thank you. I think that fact of having that group, that unit to help persons through is really important, because and Odell, I recognize you and I will come to you. I think it's so critical to help persons who are small players in the market understand why they can do it, but help them overcome the hurdles without becoming a hurdle yourself. So often we hear persons speak to the government regulations as being obstacles in the journey, and not necessarily the regulations, but the processes becoming unwieldy and time consuming. And sometimes persons have to interface with several agencies in their path and say, but I gave this information. When are we going to have a system that allows for me to be able to, having shared this information in this space, to be able to go forward? So it's good, and I commend you, and I commend all the public sector bodies present here in this discussion this morning.
If I could, may I just jump in there, Ellis?
Yes,
because I think,
yes, certainly.
One comment I'd like to make is at the national level, for me, that is where the national quality policy starts to play a role, so that we get all the players together, the public and private institutions that together can help the country to achieve its objectives, knowing who's supposed to be doing what, not treading on each other's toes. So we've got the Bureau of Standards, understanding its role, together with JANAC, together with the National Metrology Institutes, working together with the regulators to collectively do the right thing by protecting consumers, of course, but also not creating an environment that is that sort of inhibits industry and the service sector from doing the right thing, from innovating. Because very often we find that, you know, the regulatory environment is so prescriptive that it just creates a pair of handcuffs to sort of inhibit innovation. What we really want is the regulatory basis to be able to fall back on voluntary standards, to be able to use what in Europe we call the principles of presumption of conformity. So you have voluntary standards supporting the regulatory environment and society as a whole taking part in the development of those voluntary standards. So I think it's important that we don't just look at these things in isolation. We have to make sure that everybody is on board at the national level in being able to do the right thing and being able to play their role. Thanks.
Very timely intervention, Nigel. Certainly. From the NCBJ, and anybody can jump in here. I'm just wondering, NCBJ, as we look at quality conscience and auditors, so Cheryl, as one who is a consultant and who from time to time may have to do audit, what are some of the challenges that you see people, what are some of the issues they struggle with as they seek to do the right thing? What do you see as some of the, you know, real issues, the talk truth issues, when people decide whether or not they come up front with all of the information, or if they, you know, sometimes conceal, you know, they didn't tell a lie, but they have not spoken the truth?
Well, most of the companies that I've worked with, both from the consultancy and the auditing perspective, through consultancy, it's once top management is committed, you find that, as Nigel said, with the quality policy, persons have that, they try to inculcate that culture of quality within their organization. I must say, as a consultant, the hardest part of our job is changing people's behavior. And we have to go through a system of what I tend to call programming to make sure that they understand the why part of it. They have to understand why they're doing this and what are the implications. And once they understand those implications from a micro or a macro perspective, you find that they themselves dig deep into their own quality conscience to make sure that they are doing the right thing. So it's really inculcating, especially when you're implementing the standard. So it actually makes my job easier when I'm going to do an audit, for instance, for the certification body, because they're gone through this series of, or this time of programming, or this inculcating of these new and improved values. You find that the companies that apply for certification tend to want it and to want to know how to improve. So they may see, and I saw Odell's hand being raised, and I really admire him as one of the quality managers for one of the certified companies, that they want to do well. They want their company to perform. And even if they receive a non-conformity, they look at it as an opportunity for improvement because they do want to improve their system.
And it's a nice segue to invite Odell, who had raised his hand, to make his point. And you said Odell is from, go ahead, Odell.
Hi, good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Odell Bascom representing Metro Guyana. The point I was trying to make in line with what is being discussed is that how do you get your team to buy in and to do the right thing? I know Ms. Anderson just mentioned programming as one of the ways, so I just wanted to ask the rest of the team, how do they get the team to buy in? Thank you.
Thanks for that question. Who wants to take that on? Debbie or Sheldon, you could go as implementers, as actually working in the field, trying to get the systems up. Tell us, you have shared a little bit, Sheldon. So Debbie, you could share from the EXIM perspective.
Well, certainly. And earlier in my presentation, I mentioned the whole impact of leadership and, you know, leading by example, and having the rest of the team see leadership actually walk the quality talk, you know, and that was significant for us. I feel also that having people really understand in real terms, not in academic terms, not necessarily in the words of the standard, what quality means and what their role in quality will involve. I have found that, you know, that's really something that gets the team going.
Thank you so very much. Sheldon, do you want to make a
Well,
response? Mr. Budden, recognizing
no
you, and
problem.
we'll come to you right after Sheldon.
Okay. Similar to the Exim Bank, we started with top management. We met and we discussed what is required.
Is it me or is it Sheldon? Are you hearing me, guys?
It seems to be
All right, Sheldon seems to be frozen in time, but we hope that he'll come back soon.
How does it?
All right, Sheldon, we missed some of your presentation just now, but you started with top management and you could pick up from there.
Hear me now?
Yes, hearing you now clearly.
Right, so let me recap. So similar to the Exim Bank, we started with top management by discussing what is required for the standard. And on a granular level, we met with the staff in their common language as to how what is required of the standard interrelates with what they do on a day-to-day basis. How does that impact quality? How does that impact customer satisfaction and perception? Because it's not just about any one individual, because whatever each person does in the organization, it's a reflection of the company. So for example, if we were not committed as a team in providing quality products, let's just say Mr. Mahfood. Mr. Mahfood is not going to say, hey, Sheldon, you did not give me a good box. He's going to say, AMG does not give me a good box of my products. So we have to get them involved, showing them bit by bit as to what is required. And also we inform them. So whenever there's something right that is happening, we let them know. When there's something wrong, we let them know. Where there is improvements, we let them know. And also we provide avenues for them to buy in terms of they give us feedback. So we listen to them. How can we make this better? This is how we think it do, but you are the ones doing it. How can you, what would you do different to make the process better? And by doing that, we get our team moving.
Thank you so much, Sheldon. We recognize Reginald Budden, Mr. Quality himself.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Good morning, everybody.
Morning, Mr. Budden.
So good to see this forum. I must confess that I saw the post the link a little late. But I thought I'd quickly join and make a comment, which I think hopefully will be useful. And that is, Mrs. Sanderson and our other consultants who may be online and or the staff from the Ministry of Industry at Quality Systems Division, we can confirm that consistent with international experience, if say ISO 9001 and other quality standards are really to be successfully implemented and maintained in an organization, it is critical that the leadership of the organization is convinced and buy into it. What I found is that the most important thing to get ISO implemented in an organization, from my own experience, is for me to convince leadership, the chairman of the board, the CEO, that this is something of strategic importance. If you're a private company, it's critical to your global competitiveness. If you're a public agency, it is critical for the quality of service, and so that to prevent scandals and challenges and battering of the politicians in the media, it is critical. And I think, in all my experience with 40-odd agencies, I found that once you make that argument and bring it across to them, they normally see the light. And once they see the light and the CEO is on board, things will fall in line, because we always say it takes quality leadership to lead quality.
Thank you so much, Mr. Budan.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And those of us in the Jamaican space and maybe even beyond Jamaica will know that Mr. Budan champions standards and quality in his sleep. We thank you for your commitment, Mr. Budan. And we are seeing the commitment pay off. We're seeing the number of public sector agencies and bodies that are now being certified with this trust to the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce leading the charge. Let me just check in on this. And there's a comment from Nadine Walker who is sharing. And Nadine's comment says, my findings were the same with implementing the ISO 9001 at Excelsior Community College. Leadership buy-in is key. And it's always been said, if we don't get leadership buy-in, we're not going to get there. But one of the important things that I want to mention as somebody who works in a space where we have had to deal with this is seeking to ensure communication. And Debbie spoke to it very importantly, as did Sheldon, in terms of simplifying the message. And even for us here at the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, and I know that so sometimes you have to say to persons, this is not, we're not looking at the standard. Don't look at ISO 9001. Don't look at ISO 17025. Don't look at the standard and be scared by what the standard has said, but simplify that ultimately we are seeking to improve the processes for our customers. We are seeking to reduce costs, that if we do it right the first time, there is no need for us to do a second time or a third time because we have got it done. And as we invest in that way, if we engage with our staff members, as we simplify the message, our stakeholders become a part of it and they support the process. We invite any other comments as we seek to wrap up the presentation. Persons have been providing feedback in the chat. I'm really very appreciative of the comments. Thank you, Andrea Marie Dawes, you know, those persons who really encourage you. Andrea has been saying to our team of presenters today, thanks for your presentations and for the information shared. Any questions from anybody else? Let me just check the chat. All right, are there any questions or any comments from the panel as we seek to just underscore the commitment and as we seek to bring the program together for applause? May I invite the presenters to make some comments, and we will start. We started with Debbie. I will give Debbie an opportunity at the end, but let me start with Sheldon to make closing comments.
All right, I just want to say that in terms of going out there doing what is right, it is important to note that even though there are challenges that may come, doing the right thing all the time, you can only reap great rewards from it. So I will implore my colleagues, stakeholders, just to do the right thing all the time.
Thank you very much. Nigel, over to you there.
Yeah, I'll use the words that I heard from Dr. Deming when I took part in his webinar and in his seminar. Somebody asked him, Dr. Deming, there's so much to do. Where do we start? And Dr. Deming said, I don't really care, but start somewhere. And that somewhere is normally within ourselves. We have to start somewhere. We have to start by building a quality culture, by stimulating people to want to do the right thing. It's no good waiting for it to happen. It has to start from us, by our behavior, by our attitudes. We have to do the right thing as leaders to be able to have the moral integrity to be able to ask other people to do the right thing.
Thank you, Nigel. Before I take Cheryl's comment, I'm going to ask those of us who are here online and those of us who, you know, you are in the social media space, I'm going to ask you to do the right thing now. The right thing is to go to your Instagram page and to look for link up, that's LINKUP_NCBJ. Do the right thing and follow the NCBJ at their IG page. Information is shared there. You will get some tips and you'll get an opportunity as well to reach out to the team. For those persons who are considering implementation of the ISO 9001, who are seeking some support, you can write to the NCBJ at info, INFO, at ncbj.org.jm, and certainly check our website, ncbj.org.jm. But as we continue to do the right thing, all of you who, this was just to ensure that you're doing the right thing. And Michelle, I hope you have done the right thing. You're smiling so brightly with me. I'm going to ask Cheryl Mullings Anderson to make her closing comments.
Customers are loyal to quality and not company anymore. Customers are loyal to quality and not necessarily companies anymore. So I just want to make sure that we have that in our quality consciousness and we'll do the right thing.
Thank you very much. John Mahfood, JMEA.
I would say to you, it's whenever the decision is made to embark on quality systems, it's a long road, but it ultimately ensures the survival of the organization and allows you a level of confidence that in time, all your employees will be on the same page and that the products that you make are going to be right and safe. And that's basically what I can say to you. It's not an easy thing, don't underestimate it, but it can be done by everybody who puts the time into it and sees their organization as one that they want to survive beyond even their own lifetime.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Debbie.
Right. I always believe in the practical approach. I think whether you're public sector or private sector, you should be asking yourself, do I want to improve? And if the answer to that is yes, then, you do the right thing. You pursue quality.
Thank you so very much. I think many of you, in fact, I'm going to be brave enough to say that 164 of us did the right thing today by joining the National Certification Body of Jamaica in this discussion. I think in the last 2 or so years, as we have battled COVID and we have had so many Zoom presentations, that sometimes we have become zoomed out and there are so many competing activities. As someone who moderates events from time to time, I want to say that today I felt that this presentation was just ideal. The presenters were on the ball, they were just there, and the comments, the points, the tips, certainly appreciated. I think we recognize, all of us who are here, that this is a process that is ongoing. It requires a commitment. It starts with the individual person. It requires for consistency. It requires us to dig deep, because doing the right thing is not always so easy. How many times have we, as children, because as adults we have been model citizens, but as children we have gone into the sugar jar, or we have taken out the biscuit and we finished the thing. We are the only child in the house, one picnic, and then you say, I don't know how it finished. We didn't always do the right thing. We sometimes lied to our parents. It's very easy if corruption exists, because this is how we multiply. This is how we are stopped by the police, and it's easy for us to not want to take a ticket, and we want to get something in through customs easily. It's easy for us to find. But if the officers and the persons who are in the public sector themselves hold themselves accountable, hold themselves to a higher standard, then we will get there. It is when we avoid cutting the corners. It is when we are committed that we accept where we have failed. And as Sheldon said, we share the information. When things are going right, we communicate that. And when things are going bad, we also communicate that. We have to ensure that the partnership, which was so spoken to earlier, is continued. To all of our partners today, let me acknowledge on behalf of Mrs. Lavinia Wellington Ford, appreciation to Ms. Debbie Brooks, Mr. John Mafood, Mrs. Cheryl Mullings Anderson, Dr. Nigel Croft, Mr. Sheldon Taylor. We also wish to acknowledge all the members of staff of the National Certification Body of Jamaica who have been in the chat, who have been supporting. Also the team from the Bureau of Standards Jamaica. We want to recognize Juan Ravi, who celebrates a birthday today. Arain Wallace, we're shouting you out. Nicolay, for your behind the scenes work, to Rochelle and to the team, both at the BSJ and the NCBJ, for all the work that you have done. We thank you. For each of you who took time today out of your schedules, your busy schedules, to be here with us, doing the right thing, examining and challenging yourself to a better space. Thank you. And we look forward to your support. Reach out to the NCBJ. It might just be a query. You may not be at the place yet where you're ready for certification, but give a call and one of the officers of the NCBJ will be there. We thank our partners from the region who have shared with us. I saw Latoya, and I know that there are others from CrossQ on. Thank you so much for joining us. We are happy and we look forward to working together. It is approaching midday in Jamaica. I'm Ellis James Lang, and I thank you for your attention and for your participation. Blessings.
Hey, yeah, quality conscious, doing the right thing. Let's make a difference. The reason that I sing, quality conscious. The work is never done. It's all about knowing the difference of right and wrong. Quality conscious, doing the right thing. Let's make a difference. The reason that I sing, quality conscious. The work is never done. It's all about knowing the difference of right and wrong. What I'm talking about is ethics. It means that morality should never be in question. Doing the right thing even when it isn't easy. The road less traveled is worth it, believe me. Starts from the moment that you get up out of bed. The fight for what's right and wrong happens in your head. You have to make a choice. What decision will you make? Whichever way you take. So much could be at stake. Day after day, it's like a routine. Don't have to say too much, only do the right thing. Before you make a move, sometimes you gotta stop and think. You know what you gotta do, trust your instinct. Quality conscious, doing the right thing. Let's make a difference, the reason that I sing. Quality conscious, the work is never done. It's all about knowing the difference of right and wrong. Quality conscious, doing the right thing. Let's make a difference, the reason that I sing. Quality conscious, the work is never done. It's all about knowing the difference of right and wrong. Do the right thing in any situation. Do it with your actions and conversations. Tell no lies, only speak the truth. No need to be deceitful, always be you. It's essential for quality and business relations. For the marketplace, it's really no debating. Quality's important, really it's a must. And people only want to deal with people they can trust. Quality conscious, doing the right thing. Let's make a difference, the reason that I sing. Quality conscious, the work is never done. It's all about knowing the difference of right and wrong. Quality conscious, doing the right thing. Let's make a difference, the reason that I sing. Quality conscious, the work is never done. It's all about knowing the difference of right and wrong. It's easier to lie, it's easier to cheat, but in the long run, nothing else can compete with having a good conscience and morality. I had to make a song because everybody needs to know that this is vital. We're all needing this for every role in business and leadership or everyday life. The only way to win, integrity, kindness, and discipline, compassion, traits that will lead to success, will take you to another level. You will be the best. I hope you finally get what I'm saying. When you do good, then you leave with a good reputation. Quality conscious, doing the right thing. Let's make a difference, the reason that I sing. Quality conscious, the work is never done. It's all about knowing the difference of right and wrong. Quality It's all about knowing the difference of right and wrong. Quality conscious. Yeah, quality conscious. Hey, I'm talking quality conscious. Yeah, the supreme quality for leadership is integrity. Always remember.